Oh my god. Oh my freaking god. I'm such a stupid. Yeah, the button just got pressed. Okay, so today we're doing some more YOLOL. Now, if you guys have watched part 11 of my series, then you've seen me take my first steps into YOLOL. Sorry. I made this small script which combines my batteries together, my fuel tanks together, and my propellant tanks together. I also did another code, which, yeah, I moved it here. And this one tells my generator to be off if my batteries are full, or to turn off as soon as the batteries are full, and to turn on when the batteries are lower than 50,000. Like when I first wrote this, what I had in mind was for the code or the script to turn on the button. I thought it was going to use the button, so I thought the code would tell the button to turn on when the batteries were below 50k, and then the button would turn on the generators. That is what I thought would happen. That's not what happened. The button got completely skipped, and it just the code was turning on the generators directly and telling them to go up to 42. And this is actually better than if it had used the button. It's even better. You know, it requires less scripting or less code, so less or fewer YOLOL chips, and it does exactly what it's supposed to do in the most efficient way possible. And I got it done completely by accident. Now this got me thinking though, like my original idea was to use the button. I wanted the YOLOL code to turn on the button and for the button to turn on the generators, and I failed at that. I actually made something that was better, but I failed at my original idea. So I'm giving myself today the challenge of making it go through the button. Now this is only a challenge that I'm setting myself. I'm not going to save any of this. I'm not going to keep any of this. Even if I make it work, I'm going to keep the ship as is right now. But just for the sake of learning, just in the name of science, I want to give myself that challenge and see if I can make it happen. Now, obviously, I thought about it while editing my last video. I thought about how could I get this done? How could I make it work? And I do have an idea how to make this work. I do have a plan that I want to put into action today. So, what I tried last time was to name the button the same thing as the generators, because if you don't use YOLOL code, that's how you use a button to turn on anything, any device on your ship. You name it the same thing as the thing you want to turn on, and then when you press the button, that thing turns on. So that's how I thought it would work last time, but it didn't. It set the button, that number here, to 42, and it set the generators to 42 here as well. So it made it work. Everything works. But the button is completely obsolete. I could completely remove the button right now and it would not affect the code. It would still work. What I need to do is to give the button a different name than the generators. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this button. Now instead of calling it generator, I'm going to call it power gen. That's its new name, power gen. Alright, and the generators can keep this name, it doesn't matter. I'm going to keep using that name. Or, no, I'm going to use a, yeah, Smaller name I think would be better in this case. So the names or the variables I have to work with are power gen and gen U. Obviously now this button is no longer affecting anything because nothing. Why am I? My character was stuck between the seat and the ceiling. So the button is no longer affecting anything. It's no longer turning anything on. Now I want to check something here. So when I press it, it says power gen 100. So it's not like a 1 and a 0 type of button. I can't just turn it on by assigning a value of 1 anywhere. What if I set this number here to 42? Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. I wish it was a 1 or a 0. Like, what about this one here? Yeah, this one is button on state value 1. Oh, no, I can actually... So if I press on this, it's just... So I can still make this happen. It's the same type of button. So let's just do 1 here. So now when I press a button in test mode, it goes to 1, and that's it. So button state will be 1. And I'm going to use the code to tell how much to give to the Gen U. Now let's use this code here. I'm going to have more than one chip, I think. So now it should be powered and everything. So here is where I'm going to tell the ship that when the button is pressed, the Gen U needs to open or to turn on. So I'm going to use an if statement. So if I called it power gen is equal to 1, then Gen U equals 42. End. No, actually, we're not done. Else Gen U, oops, not like this. Equals 0. I think this is, yeah, okay, so I could write this two different ways. I could say if power gen is equal to 1, or then gen U equals, oh, no, here there needs to, no. Equals 42. Alright. So I can write it like this. If power gen is equal to 1, then gen U is equal to 42. Else gen U is equal to 0. So this, I think, is the most efficient way to end it. Oops. Is the most efficient way to write it because it's all written in one line. But I could also say, like, if power gen is equal to 1, then gen U equals to 42, and on line 2 I could say if power gen is equal to 0, then gen U is equal to 0, and. So I could have two lines with both conditions, but like right now, since there's only two choices, there's only 1 and 0, those are the only two options. So the else, meaning if it's anything else than 1, then gen U equals 0, well, it still works because there's only one other option. So the else refers to that one other option, and I want gen U to equal 0 in that case. So Let's see if that works. It should work just by pressing the button. It should work. Let's see if it does. It doesn't. Why? Power gen is equal to 1. I think it's because of the... No, it shouldn't. I told it to... Well, I forgot one thing in the code. I forgot to go to one thing. Because right now, as you can see, it's going through every single line. But not now, not anymore. Hang on. So yeah, without the go to 1, it was going through every line. Now it goes to go to 1 and goes back here. Now, I don't know why the 42 here doesn't work. Hang on, I need to check something. So, if I delete these, I just want to generate. Okay, so maybe I need to affect power in this case and not limit. Maybe I need to affect both in this case then. Yeah, maybe that was that. Maybe that would work. So here I'm gonna set it to Gen U again, and here I'm gonna set it to power again. But maybe I need to set a value to both. So Gen U would be 42, but power would also be 42. All right, edit script. So Gen U equals 42, and then power equals 42. Else Gen U equals 0, power equals 0, and if power gen is equal to 1, then Gen U equals 42, power equals 42. Else Gen U equals 0, power equals 0, and that should... I mean, it makes sense in my head. I just want to see if it works. In my head, it makes absolute sense. It still won't go up. Why not? Alright, so instead of having the else here, like, this code makes sense. If power gen is equal to 1, which it is, then Gen U equals 42. Oops. I'm sure this line of code should work. Instead of Gen U, let's try to use just power. This is extremely confusing right now. Why I can't use code? Like, I can use code to use the batteries as a trigger to turn on the generators, but I cannot use code to use a button to turn on the generators. It makes no sense at all. This should work. So now I wrote it in 3 lines instead. Oh my god. Oh my freaking god. I just realized my mistake. I'm such a stupid. My god. Okay. Gonna delete this line. I'm gonna rewrite the first line. I forgot my colons. What the absolute. Sorry for my bad language. Okay, so instead of power here, we're gonna go with Gen U, but don't forget your colons, man. You see, right there, it works. All I had to do was this. Then here, I'm gonna go with the else thing again. Gen U equals 0. So yeah, the code worked in my head and I could not figure out why it wouldn't work. But oh my god. What an absolute dummy. I think it's already working. Yeah, it's already at 42 here. This is on. And this is at 42. Now if I turn off the button, why are you still on? Oh, dummy. Forgot the colon again. Oh my god, you guys must be screaming at me right now. Alright, so it works. Oh my god. This is operator error. So I managed to make this work with a button that has a different name than the generators, and it works. So yeah, it made so little sense to me that I could turn on the generators using a value from the batteries, but I couldn't use a button to turn them on. It made no sense. I probably lost like a dozen brain cells right there. Alright, so now I need to officialize this script by rewriting it here. So if colon power gen equals to 1, then colon gen u equals 42. Let's remove this power thing. It's useless. I don't need both values. Then else gen u equals 0 and power is useless. And like this. If power gen is equal to 1, then gen u equals 42, else gen u equals 0, and go to 1. Perfect. That's what I needed. Alright, now we can go to making the batteries turn on the button. So we're going to do this here. So, if colon batteries is yeah, I'm gonna do the off thing first, is greater than 59,999, then colon power gen equals 0, and if colon batteries, did I forget? No, okay, I put my colon there. If batteries is lower, lower than 50k, I think is what I set it to last time, then power gen equals 1, and go to 1. It's gonna keep checking between these two. So if the batteries are above 59,999, which means 60k, then it's gonna turn off the button. And if the batteries are below 50K, then it's going to turn on the button. And the button is going to take care of the rest. Let's see. So now I do not touch the button. The batteries are going to turn the button on and off. Yeah, the button just got pressed. And the generator's going up. It's going to go up to 42. At 42, the batteries should start charging up again. Yeah, so the batteries are charging up again. Now I'm going to stop the ship. And as soon as batteries reach 60K, the button should just unpress itself. Yeah, it worked. Now this way is not as efficient as the other one for a few reasons. The first one is it uses 2 chips instead of just 1. I could probably write all of it on 1 chip, but it would just like the code. The chip reads each line 1 by 1, so it would just make the whole process like slightly slower. It would feel like there's a little bit of an input lag, I guess. So this is less efficient because of that. I'm using 2 chips instead of 1, and I'm making it like a 2-step process instead of being a 1-step process, because the batteries could go straight to turning on the generator instead of going to turn on this and then this turning on the generator. Now I'm curious. Yeah, okay. So if I press it, it's gonna turn on until it reaches 60K, and then it's gonna turn off again. So like the button doesn't really do anything for me. I can just let the ship handle it now. So the button in this case is not obsolete because the code uses the button itself. And the other version, the one I did in part 11, it didn't use the button. It just went straight to the generators, and I think that was a better way of doing it. So like I said, I'm not gonna save the changes I've made today. I'm just gonna quit without saving. I'm gonna keep the setup I have the setup that I've made in part 11 because it's more efficient, it's better. Now, if I think about other challenges to set for myself using YOLOL, I'll make more videos on YOLOL. I really like it. I absolutely love the fact that we can modify our ships further, like past or beyond what the designer is capable of just by using coding. It just opens up so many more possibilities as to what you can do with your ship. I think the possibilities are endless. Like the feeling you get when you write a line of code and then you turn it on and you see it in action, that satisfaction you get is just, there's no word to describe it. It's better than the satisfaction I got from building all of this. So anyway, I'm gonna end it here. I hope you guys learned something as I did, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.